At the Hitman Heart, the best there is, best there was, and the best there ever will be. And you're listening to the Smacked Raw podcast.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Rewind, the weekly Smacked Raw show where we look over what's going on in pro wrestling in the last week. We are your hosts. My name is Kyle Tyson.
I'm Article, a.k.a. Mr. 8984, a.k.a. the brains and the looking good part of the Smacked Raw podcast.
Yeah.
How's everybody doing?
What's up, man? Hey, we're actually on time for a week, man. We're on Sunday. Sunday, 9 o'clock, just like we said.
Just like we promised.
Yeah, so if you guys listen, on the rare occasions that we do record, whenever we schedule it to, it's always here live, twitch.tv/SmackedRaw at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Of course, you can catch all these shows afterwards up on youtube.com/SmackedRaw podcast. And then, of course, all of the audio realms, we're everywhere. We're on Spotify. What's your podcast platform of choice?
Spotify.
Spotify?
Yep.
See, I like YouTube, man. I like actually visually seeing the podcast. I use Spotify for the ones that aren't recorded in video, like,
right.
Although this will show how long it's been since I've listened to a podcast on Spotify. The Edge and Christian podcast. That's what I used to listen to. I was really bummed that they never video recorded their stuff.
Right.
Oh man. Hey, today's show, we're gonna be a little bit more topical. Me and RN, we tend to believe that the best shows we have are the ones with the least amount of planning. So we'll see how true that is. Today, me and RN are gonna debate whether or not is pro wrestling a sport. Honestly, I forgot to ask you if we are in agreement with what we think.
Well, that's better that we're not, because we get to pull it out. We don't know what each other's going to say.
Yes. On the off chance that me and RN are in complete agreement, I'll do my best to play devil's advocate to take a look from maybe the other side of the fence, because I'm definitely not out to.
I feel like we're probably going to agree the same.
I have a feeling we will too. But yeah, we're going to talk about whether or not pro wrestling is a sport. We were going to do the pillars of WWE for wrestlers that are 25 and under. Turns out neither of us did our homework. Big surprise there. And we could not find an updated roster that has all the superstars by age. We could go to Wikipedia, but let's be honest, that would take forever.
If anybody out there wants to help us out and send us like a top 10 list, men and women 25 and under in WWE. If you're listening out there, help us.
Hell yeah, do that, man. Send it to us. Twitter. That's a great plug for Twitter, man. At SmackDrawPod, DM us. If you can find a list of wrestlers in WWE, I guess we'll count NXT and NXT UK as well. All the wrestlers
we'll put the entire WWE, because the pillars portion is more like looking towards the future. So I feel like you got to include everybody.
Yeah, you got to prep for the future. So, right. NXT, what's that new show that's like NXT's main event? Is it like Level Up?
I don't know. I've never watched it.
Yeah, I think it's called Level Up.
I hardly watch NXT when it comes on. So
yeah. Oh, you know what I just realized? I never updated the chat from my last stream, and I just realized you can't see this, RN, but if you guys are watching the live stream, I have a box so you guys can see your chats pop up, and it is like microscopic. I've been using Streamlabs, and the settings are extremely different. I'll try to update during that. I'll try to update that during the stream. Let's just move off of that for now. Yeah, it looks so silly. Let me see. Where are you? Yeah, there's the one without the chat. There we go. But yeah, send us that list, you guys. And then what else did we say we were gonna touch on? What was that? We're gonna preview New Japan's Forbidden Door. Well, AEW New Japan's Forbidden Door.
Wait, we're not previewing that. That's too far away, ain't it?
Well, didn't you say you want to talk about it? What did you say you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, I want to talk about the Forbidden Door, like all the matches that happened, that New Japan shit that happened on like Rampage and Dynamite or whatever.
Oh, that's what you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, I do want to do a preview for it, but I mean, shit, that's like 2 weeks away, ain't it?
Yeah, I know. I was trying to look up a card and I could only find like 2 matches.
Right.
I thought that's what I just like left it in your hands. Like maybe RN knows something I don't.
No, I was just hyped because I finally watched Rampage for like the first time in like 3 weeks, and the United Empire, which is probably my favorite faction on New Japan, they were there. So,
Shit.
and then all the shit on Dynamite too. So, I just kind of want to talk about like who we expect, which isn't fair because you suck and don't watch New Japan, but
hey,
people's hype for it and stuff like that. But yeah.
Hey, not only do I not watch New Japan, I did not watch SmackDown or Rampage this week.
I watched SmackDown and Rampage this morning.
This morning? No, I went I watched Jurassic World.
Oh, I can't wait to see that. That's my Father's Day gift. I think we're gonna go to movies to see that.
Yeah, I saw that, and then I worked all day Saturday and today, so I haven't had time to watch it. I watched a couple like recaps that kind of caught me up. I feel like I didn't miss anything on SmackDown's end.
Walter winning the Intercontinental title, that was pretty dope.
I was about to say with that being the exception, and maybe Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. I heard they
it was the same Sheamus and Drew McIntyre match we fucking seen.
They just beat the piss out of each other.
It's getting old, kind of like there was like they didn't even bring like. Butch was a kind of I guess we'll get to it, but Butch was kind of like a sort of another part to it to make it different, but it was pretty much just the same fucking headbutts, them both doing the 10 baits of Bowery or whatever the fuck it is on each
10
other.
10 beats of the Balor.
Just it was literally the same Sheamus and fucking Drew McIntyre match we've seen for the past 5 years.
Oh, okay. Well, like I said, that's why I said I didn't really feel like I missed that much. Yeah, but I watched Raw. I watched Dynamite. I actually watched NXT this week for the most part. I had it on. I didn't pay too much attention, but I did watch it.
I think I watched it too. It'd be so fucking far away. Like, what was the? Let's go through. Let's see what it has. Let's start with Raw. We'll go through.
Okay, yeah, why not? Let's do this like our old school shows. We'll pull up CBS Sports live on air. Let's make sure that okay, it is from this week, and I don't just start talking about a show from like 3 weeks ago.
You have done that numerous times.
So Raw's the one where they Cody got taken out.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Cody got taken out.
That was fucking oof. That was vicious.
Dude, I was beside myself. I was like, why is this fool? Because Cody came out and cut a promo, and he actually was teasing somehow making it to Money in the Bank. And I was like, dude, what are you talking about right now?
Well, a lot of it was, remember, before all this even happened, he was like the spokesperson, like the MC for it. Remember, like in like February or some shit like that, he came out with that weird promo, and everybody's like, it's just foreshadowing him winning the Money in the Bank and shit and everything like that.
I strongly believe they fully intended on Cody winning that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
That is probably the biggest. Like, I kind of like that I don't like the fact that he's injured, but I do kind of like the fact that we are going to have him taken off of TV because, in my opinion, with him, had he stayed on television and the way it looks like Roman not dropping those belts till after Mania,
right?
If Cody's really like the guy to help take the titles off of him, I didn't want to run the risk of him getting burnt out. Between now and then.
I'm glad you brought that up. Here's my thing, like, and I hate that's the truth, and that's why I believe it. But I knew everybody from the beginning that he was going to be a world champion here, and like I don't think he would have left and done the things that he's done to come here if that wasn't put in the contract or put somewhere, handshake agreement, something that he'd be the champ. And now with him getting injured, to me, he's the biggest babyface in their company.
Yeah,
that injury and everything he's done
with that Hell in a Cell match, it's by a landslide.
And my thing is, like we talked about last week, it has to be him that takes the belts from Roman. Yeah, it has to be, or at least one of them. And my thing is too, like, don't put them both up. If you're gonna have this fucking guy's fake fucking brand split, even though I know it's been rumored that they're gonna end it, but if you're gonna keep it, just have him take one belt, have him take Raw's belt, so he can be Raw's champ when he comes back. But the only thing I have, like, I firmly believed he's gonna be the winner of Royal Rumble, and I keep that in my back pocket, but now they're saying 8 to 9 months because of how bad of a tear it was and everything like that. So it's like,
well, I feel like that is just them trying to throw the scent off. Now, granted, he's not.
Yeah, no. I don't think it's them throwing the center. I think it's them giving themselves some cushion.
Yeah. Well, I mean, John Cena. Now, granted, John Cena's a freak of nature.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But John Cena had a torn pec, and he returned in 3 months. You know,
somebody else came back in 3 or 4 months too. Who else?
So we know like what the absolute best case scenario is. Right. With Cody being a really in shape guy, assuming that the surgery goes well and rehab and all that goes well, I think it's a safe bet he'll be back by Royal Rumble.
That's what I'm betting on. Yeah, like I said, like I'm telling everybody, I'm screaming this from the mountaintop, and I don't care what anybody says. No more Roman versus Rock shit. Leave that alone. Stop bringing it up. Keep it away from me. I don't want anything to do with it. The man hasn't wrestled. First of all, he's a fucking stiff, stone-made giant. Have you seen him in person? Like, the motherfucker barely can lift his arms over his head. That's one thing.
He's a crowd of people by himself.
Literally. He's literally 4 people combined into one. It's like fucking Captain Planet or some shit.
He's a Megazord, is what the Rock
he's
is.
Literally a real-life Megazord. He hasn't wrestled in years. He hasn't shown any interest really in wrestling in years. Like, I don't want to see that. I'm tired of seeing these old folks come back and beat our guys and take spots away from guys like that. It should be Cody and it should be Roman at fucking WrestleMania. And that's, I don't care. And yes, I am the person that was hating on Cody. I called him Homelander. He was racially fucking
We all hated on Cody.
Idiotic. He said some dumb shit that he don't know nothing about because his wife's black, but so he didn't really know what he was saying. But since he's been back in the E, what he's done and how he's performed, he's literally leaps and bounds ahead of half the fucking roster besides Seth. Seth was the only person on his level, and I hate that they did him like that. They should at least let Seth get the win, knowing that he's going to be gone for 4 or 5 months. But I'll take it for what it is, because now Seth's still number 2. There's no one can tell me any different, especially with Randy being out. Seth's the number 2 by far in the MVP as always, and still standing strong.
See, I don't even think there's like a 1 and 2. Well, I guess Roman's always 1.
Roman's 1.
And then you can have like a couple people tying like 2A, 2B,
right.
2C.
And that's nothing against Seth. Me and that. It's just Roman. It's just he's got the machine behind him. He's got the fans behind him. He's got Paul. Like everybody, he's the internet darling. Like there's nothing. Roman doesn't have one crowd of people that's not fucking behind him. That's why I'm saying he's number 1. Seth's always going to have his detractors, and because he does have a weakness. He's not a good babyface. He's just not. So he's always going to have that one little thing that stops him from being the A1 guy like Roman is.
WWE really botched like the one true time they could have had Seth as a babyface, and that was when he was returning from injury, and they still had him turn on the crowd. That was pointless.
I don't think it was. I think they knew, and I think he knew too, that he's just not good at being – at the voice and even his move sets and everything, like the stomp and all that shit, the pedigree. Like he's just, some people just are not good heels, and it's crazy how he's literally like one of the nicest people in the fucking world. And he's everybody's fucking best friend and backstage and shit and everything, in everybody's weddings and all that, and he can't be a good guy on screen.
Pretty Kyle's in the chat. What's up, Kyle?
What's up, Kyle?
RN is out of his mind. Rock versus Roman is money. God dang it, man. I told you. I'm recording a podcast. What are you doing?
It's absolutely money. That's not an argument. I'm not arguing that it's not money. I'm arguing who doesn't do who doesn't do anything for it. He doesn't do anything for The Rock because he's the biggest fucking movie star in the entire planet, on the entire planet. He's literally makes more money than actors that have won Academy Awards and fucking are going into fucking Hall of Fame and stuff, and this jackass is the number 1 movie star in the world. And then if he beats Roman, what does it do for Roman? If Roman beats him, what does it do for Roman? Y'all can give me all the bullshit you want. Beating The Rock is not going to make Roman be bigger than he is right now.
Let's ask a couple of questions. Let's dance around it. Let's tease the idea. Let's see who's like another big name part timer that's come back. Aiden L. Goldberg, right? Now Goldberg's not like a movie star. He's not The Rock. How big? Who really benefited from Goldberg coming back and then beating him?
Goldberg's the only one that benefited from that.
Is Roman really going to be bigger from beating The Rock?
No, he's not. Who's he going to be bigger to?
He's already the biggest guy. You know what I mean? That's the thing, is he's already the biggest guy on the roster. You know what it is who benefits is WWE, the public figure side of WWE.
Yes,
because then you're going to have all the casual Rock fans come in.
Right, but all those same casual fans are the same fans that come in for every WrestleMania anyway. The Rock, like, I don't think The Rock's going to make it that big. He's not going to move the needle that much and give it that much more of a bump.
Like fans that are exclusive just to like ballers, like all those HBO fans are going to come over.
I don't think it's going to be a big enough thing where you notice it.
What about DC fans? He's going to be Black Adam. Can we get those DC fans in here?
Probably not, because those DC fans are wrestling fans. They're fucking nerds like us. It's the same thing. I'm one of those guys. That's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't really, like, I can guarantee you it's not Rock coming to WrestleMania. It's not going to give them that much more of a bump than WrestleMania gets anyway. WrestleMania is what it is because it is the pay-per-view for the non-normal fans and the guys that just watch wrestling when they're a kid. They get it once a year to see what stars are going to pop.
The Rock will bring in more fans for WrestleMania. Yes, he will bring in more fans for WrestleMania. He'll bring in more fans, more money, more everything. I agree with that. I'm saying that, but it's not big enough. He's not bringing in enough people to affect it. To affect Roman is what I'm saying, or make Roman be any bigger going down the line once The Rock is gone. That's my thing. Like, these WrestleMania should be setting you up for the next year and setting the company up to do good for the next year. Bringing in a guy that's for 3 weeks before fucking WrestleMania, it's just going to be done after WrestleMania. That Rock bump is over. They don't stay. They just don't. Like, it's proven that the casual fan comes for WrestleMania. We'll see you again next year. Some of those people come back for SummerSlam because it's summer WrestleMania, but for the most part, they come for WrestleMania. We'll see you again next year. Don't they come in for the Saudi shows? Don't those guys tune in on those big? I mean, dude, they always label the Saudi shows the what was it? The greatest Royal Rumble, like that's WrestleMania 2.0.
But do we have any numbers to suggest that those are real?
I'm just yanking your chain.
I know. I'm just like this, but you're saying the shit that dumb people on the internet say. Like, well, what about this? Like, that's not real. That's smoke and mirrors. The casual fan always comes for WrestleMania. It doesn't matter what stars are there or not. They're gonna be there. That's the whole point of WrestleMania.
Jimmy Bebe. Finally, I get this guy to tune into one of our shows. He says, I've always looked at WrestleMania as the season finale, and only a few things start at Mania. Lately, WrestleMania is not the blow-off season for damn near anything nowadays.
No, because WrestleMania fucking Backlash is the blow-off.
Exactly. Like, it's weird, man. It's weird. Like,
no, it's not. You know what it is what I said. WrestleMania is for the casual fan. They know that. They get that. So why waste your blow-off matches with people that aren't going to be there? That's why they started doing WrestleMania Backlash.
Yeah. No, you know what? That makes all the sense in the world, RN. You know, like I never asked, like, I never really questioned why they attached WrestleMania to its name. I think I always just assumed, just to milk that cow a little bit more.
That too. Yeah. That's absolutely that too.
Because didn't they attach one of the first Saudi shows? Didn't they attach the name WrestleMania to that as well?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, they're just trying to milk the name. By the way, Jimmy Bebe, how about you give us a follow here on Twitch and let me have Excalibur like shout in the air. Give the people what they want, my friend. Give the people what they want. Yeah, man. So you would rather see... I'm kind of there with you, to be honest. Although, like, I'm not going to lie. The casual, the filthy casual in me wants to see The Rock. Yes! That's what I'm talking about, Jimmy. Jimmy Bebe has followed Smacked Raw. That's what I'm talking about. The filthy casual in me wants to see The Rock. But at the same time, like you said, like, Cody's hot, man. He's white hot right now. And
that's why you brought him in.
Yeah, man. It's interesting.
That's literally why you brought him in. Like, that's the part I don't get. Like, so what's Cody going to do at WrestleMania if he doesn't get Roman and doesn't get the title? We're going to do him and Seth again?
I could.
Him and Omos?
Yeah, have him Omos.
Him in Theory? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Like, WrestleMania's a ways away, though. It's a ways away.
But it's not. But WrestleMania season will be on our ass real quick.
Yeah, you really start talking about WrestleMania right after SummerSlam, don't you? You spend... Yeah, I guess we don't give a damn about Survivor Series. No one gives a shit about Survivor Series.
Especially since they started making it Raw versus SmackDown. That shit's garbage.
Yeah. What'd you think of so on Raw, this is kind of like a more minor point, but we saw Becky Lynch sniff that 24/7 title for a second. She was having a match with Dana Brooke. A bunch of 24/7 shenanigans happen. Dana wins the belt. Becky Lynch demands that the title be on the line and that nobody interfere. Kind of like your typical 24/7 match where they suspend all the rules and just make it a regular title match. Dude, she lost. This to me, my thing was, I feel like they were trying to recreate and sticking with the Rock here theme, when Hurricane Helms rolled up the Rock.
Right.
It was based off of, I think, a Stone Cold distraction. Mm-hmm. And Hurricane Helms got that just iconic win. Like, there aren't many like underdog wins that really stick generation over generation. I think the only other one that comes to mind for me is the 1-2-3 Kid beating Razor Ramon. Everybody always goes back to that. Do you feel like they were trying to do that with Dana Brooke, or was this just like poor writing?
I think it was a little bit of both. I think it was them trying to do a callback that fell flat on his face, which is what they kind of are used to doing that. Like their callbacks never go right. They just don't. I don't know if it's because they picked the wrong people to pull it back, or what happens. Like you said, it just felt like lazy writing. Like if you weren't really a person that watched wrestling and got it, you wouldn't have known that that's what that was.
Yeah, that was the first thing. That was the very first thing I thought about. Because, I mean, it was also done with an Asuka distraction. Because I was convinced. I was like, oh, sweet. Becky Lynch is going to win it. I get excited for stupid stuff like that.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
I got so excited for it. I was like, oh, great. Becky's going to win that title, and then she's going to regret winning it. She's going to hate the company that comes with that 24/7 title. And I thought it would have been hilarious content.
And they're so dumb because they probably really did think about that. And then they overthunk it. It was like, no, we shouldn't do this with Becky. And then that's how that probably came about. I guarantee you that's how that went. Like, instead of them having something dope as hell that could go through the summer to keep Becky kind of in this limelight, kind of get a different light shined on her, and give her something to do with 25 fucking people to go back and forth with and have hilarious interactions with, or just her murdering them. You know what I'm saying? Like, so many things that come out of her having the 24/7 title, but they overthink everything. And this is what we get. Dana Brooke fucking pinning Becky Lynch. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, Kyle says it was more about Becky losing than it was Dana winning. And that's correct. Dana felt like an
we know that. But
yeah, like it was still all about Asuka and Becky.
But Dana, there's no life in hell where fucking Dana Brooke should have fucking pinned Becky Lynch.
But you guys know me. If you've watched this show for any length of time, you know me. I'm still pining for the day that Brock Lesnar becomes 24/7 champion. And we just get Brock Lesnar being annoyed by everybody just doing mundane stuff. Do you think Brock Lesnar probably doesn't do his own shopping? What does Brock Lesnar do in his daily life? What do you think?
Brock Lesnar does do his own shopping. He just goes to Walmart and rips shirts off flannels.
Do you think so? You think he... No, there's no way Brock Lesnar's pushing around a grocery cart.
I guarantee you he's in Minnesota. Probably don't even know he's a wrestler, bro. That motherfucker probably wears nothing but Carhartt.
That motherfucker's so big, he picks up a shopping cart like it's a basket. All right? And he just carries that son of a bitch around.
I guarantee you his whole closet is Carhartt. Except for those few shirts. Sable probably was like, you can't wear that on TV. And went out real quick and bought him a couple shirts for those 3 or 4 appearances on Raw. I guarantee you.
Poor Sable living in the middle of fucking nowhere. Probably got no cell signal. Got to walk down their like 2-mile driveway just to get a bar of signal out there.
Right. Like, bro, I guarantee you his whole shit is fucking Carhartt and Under Armour.
Brock's out in a tree stand, right? Tozawa trying to climb up it.
That's what I'm saying. They overthink everything. And that's some type of shit. Like, I know they probably think it's under Brock, but Brock's the type of fucker. He doesn't give a fuck. If it makes sense and he getting paid, he'll rock that fucking 24-hour title. He'll be F5ing people through walls and dumpsters and shit. Like I said, someone Tozawa wanted him trying to come and roll him up, and he just keeps walking and
he's like walking.
Like, that shit would have been so dope. Or like the refs come up after when he tried to do it, he just looks at the ref and the ref just leaves. Like, you know what? I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna sit this one out.
Yeah, no.
He just walks away.
You want to be the ref to count Brock out in the wild too, where you've got no security. You know what I mean? There's nothing for miles, Brock. Like, it's just you in the wilderness. You know what I mean?
You'll be hanging up on his wall.
It's you, the ref, Akira Tozawa, and one cameraman. You don't think all 3 of you can't disappear at the same time around Brock Lesnar? Y'all are going to disappear out in those woods, man.
Feeding y'all to his hogs, bro.
Oh, my God. Jimmy Bebe says, putting on Brock would be a great way to kill that title. Nobody's going to want to try and take it from him. You're right, man. Just like I said, Brock give you a look, and he's going to think twice.
But then the payoff though is like we'll get something like they did tonight. Like if one of them had the title forever, and now he's like really in like storylines and shit, like really like in main event matches with the fucking 24/7 title, and he loses the 24/7 title, but then like wins like a number one contendership or something like that. Like the stories literally tell themselves when you do shit like that with those type of wrestlers. Like literally, like he gets distracted. Like say it's like a triple threat match or something. It's no DQ. So Seth or somebody like hits him with a fucking chair or the stairs or something. One of the 24/7 guys are like hiding under the ring, come out, pin him real quick, dip. Then Brock ends up winning the match and winning the world title. Like there's so many different things you can pull off of that.
It's a lot of fun, dude. And Brock shown he can be funny, man. That's one thing is he can be so genuinely funny.
Yes. After this last run, I would have never thought like, no, that's way beneath him. But then after this run where he was actually showing that side of him, and he's already said in numerous interviews, if the check's good enough, I'll do whatever you ask me to do.
He's come out and said he wants to keep wrestling, man. Let's see. Yeah. Really quick. Okay, so the biggest thing on Raw, hands down, RN, I know this holds true for you, was the Miz TV premiere for Miz and Mrs. season number 3. Okay. Listen, you guys. This is mine and RN's guilty motherfucking pleasure, dude. I love some Miz TV. I don't know why I can't get enough of this shit. I thought it was the alcohol, RN. I thought it was because I was just drinking myself into stupidity. I'm sober nowadays. I still find the shit hilarious. I cannot stop watching.
It's so put on and so fucking like super cheesy and fake, but like... I try not to watch them at once.
We had an entire episode of Miz trying to pretend he didn't accept Dancing with the Stars immediately. Come on now. You really think Miz had to think about that shit?
I hate watching them one by one, so I always let a couple weeks build up. Like I'm actually up to date on this season, but normally I let like 2 or 3 weeks build up because I hate watching just one episode. You can't get enough of it. It's so trash, bro. It's literally trash TV, like Real Housewives and shit like that. It's fake as hell. Nothing on it's believable except the daughters because they're assholes and I love them.
Yeah.
But other than that, everyone else is fake as hell, but I can't stop watching.
Love Mrs. Dad. Miz TV actually on Raw was hilarious though. God damn it, Riddle is like got the best comedic timing. I'm telling you. The only thing I missed was I meant to ask Vanessa from Putting You Over. Vanessa's Canadian, but I don't know if she speaks French. I doubt it. But I wanted to ask her like what the hell Maurice did when she clapped back at Riddle trying to speak French. Oh man, it was so good. That was pretty much it for Raw. Honestly, everything else was kind of mundane. It wasn't really a bad episode.
And that's the thing. We got to give them props. There hasn't been any bad episodes in Raw in months. They've all been. There's been a few mids, more mids than great, but there hasn't been any like just like fuck. Why am I still watching this episodes in a long, long time?
Yeah. You know what? How about this? Instead of just like running down the whole week of wrestling, we had a good couple topics that came out of Raw. We have some viewers in the chat right now. Marie's in here, Jimmy's in here, Noob's still in, lingering around. Kyle's in here. Let's go ahead and bust out this topic, man. What's on the headlines of the show? Is pro wrestling a sport? So where this spawns from was me. I'm a very lighthearted person. I don't take too much stuff very seriously. I love the comedic side of pro wrestling. I find, though, that when I post and I support it and I say a lot of the comedy stuff that I like, I do get some flack from some people. And then one comment I got recently, actually by Will over at Botch Spots and Chair Shots, which, by the way, you guys, listen, if you haven't subscribed to our podcast, do so. Will just got interviews with both Josh Alexander and Mickey James.
The walking weapon.
Yes. So we got some great interviews coming up over here. Stay tuned for that stuff. Well, anyways, Will just posed the question innocently. He says, aren't you worried it's going to kill the sport aspect of it? And to me, my gut reaction is, I hate to say it, and I know this rubs some people the wrong way, pro wrestling's not a sport, in my opinion.
Definitely.
Yeah.
No, we do not agree on this in any way, shape, or form.
Oh, wow. So you think it is a sport?
Yeah.
God, RN, you really don't fail to impress me with how dumb you are. It's definitely not a sport, bro.
Well, coming from a guy that doesn't watch sports or know much about sports, it's funny that you would. It's not beyond the realm of possibility that you would think that. So,
listen, man. Sports have commissions. They have rules and regulations. They are actually competitive events, no predetermined outcomes. There's no way this is a sport.
Allegedly.
Okay, listen. So I'm gonna hit you with the big gun right away. Okay, I'm gonna hit you with the big gun right away.
Come on, let's hear this shit.
So I would think out of anybody's opinion about pro wrestling that we would trust more than anybody else is gonna be Vincent Kennedy McMahon, the godfather of professional wrestling. Okay, Vince McMahon sat in front of a courthouse back in New Jersey in 1989 and told them, he testified before the state senate that wrestling was not a competitive sport, directly out of the man's mouth himself.
To save his own ass in a steroids trial.
No, that's something else, man. No, because what they were trying to do is they were coming down on him about having oh no, yeah, you're right. It was tied to the steroids.
I know I'm right.
Yeah, never mind. Sorry, you're right. My fault.
I'm telling you, that's all it was. These are the reasons why it's a competitive sport. First of all, they're competing. It may be predetermined, but they're still competing. The end might be determined, but there's still a race that has to be run. Second of all, they train year round, just like all athletes do. They have to take care of their body. They have to fucking be in shape. Third of all, they travel just like real athletes do to different venues, which some of them actually have sporting events in. So there's that. And then on top of all of that, these men and women are all, 90% of them are all athletes or were athletes.
That doesn't make it a sport, man.
Yes,
it is. Listen, okay.
There's injuries in it, just like, here's my thing. Do they not get sports injuries?
They get injured. Motherfucker, I get injured if I walk on some uneven grass.
No, motherfucker, okay? You ain't never tore your pec.
I'm not Usain Bolt over here, though.
You've never torn your pec or fucked up your ACL. I know your ass ain't running fast enough or done anything quick enough to tear your fucking ACL or lift anything heavy enough to tear your pec. So shut the fuck up. Yes, you might get a sprained pinky or roll your ankle getting out of bed with your clumsy ass, but you ain't never got none of those injuries that people in WWE get.
Listen,
never.
What about, okay, so if these guys are sports, they're no more, it's no more a sport, because then you'd have to consider, like, look at like what a stuntman does for work. A stuntman, athletic, can obtain injuries. They have more in common with stuntmen because, for one, what are stuntmen doing? They're helping produce a role. They're trying to tell a story in something that is predetermined.
I don't disagree with that to an extent. I don't disagree with that either.
Yeah, like wrestling has more in common with ballet than it does an actual competitive event. Okay?
Well, but then why do so many pro athletes love wrestling, watch wrestling, and become wrestlers?
Because it's combining two things that they like, something to use their athletic abilities.
Oh, you mean sports?
Also go in just athletic abilities. Okay,
no. You're sugarcoating and trying to fucking rap and dance around what you're saying. You're right. It combines two things they love: sports and entertainment.
Stories.
Yeah, all right. Like I said, you walk the line on that motherfucker. You say you know exactly what I'm saying.
No, they like
so many athletes become wrestlers because it combines two things out of your own mouth. Because
they don't want to go. They don't want to go sit in a cubicle and then let this freaking godlike body they've spent their whole life building up.
Like
they want to find something that they can still do that.
Yeah, they want to compete and travel like they did when they played another sport.
Man, it's not a fucking sport, bro. It's not a sport.
You said it yourself. You just pussyfoot and danced around it.
Wrestling is so many things other than wrestling. Like that's the last thing it is.
It's called sports entertainment for a reason.
Yeah, right. It's not a sport though. See, what's crazy to me is like most people that I saw that are saying that it is a sport don't watch sports. Like this is the one weird thing about it, man.
Well, I do watch sports. I coach sports. I play sports.
Right.
I'm around sports every fucking day.
Then why don't you go tell the kids on the opposite team, like, hey, man, today's game, you guys are the away team. Okay, so you're the villain. So I'm going to need you to lose at the end so the home team can win. And it's just much more dramatic. Why don't you go tell them?
I've done that before and it was frowned upon by the parents and the coaches and other teams.
It's not a fucking sport.
You cleared it up for me when you said athletes want to do something that they love. They want to combine something that's
no. They just want to be able to keep that body and not have to go home and live some mundane life. They want to still
keep that body in shape.
That's a natural progression to keep that rock star lifestyle.
Okay, but again, it's not. But here's the thing: if they didn't have to work out and compete and do all the other things like they did when they played another sport, then yes, I would agree with you. But you can't just stop working out and not do anything and just fucking be a wrestler.
Marie's telling me I should go take a bump. Marie, yeah, like, look, listen, just because I can go fall down doesn't mean I'm in an athletic competition. Okay, like I can go fall down right now. Yes, I know it hurts. I'm not saying that there isn't demand on this. Like I said, it's obviously there's a demand, but it doesn't make it a sport. It's not a competition outside of the politics behind stage. It's more politics than it is sports, man.
There is politics in sports. That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. But it's more of that too. It's sports entertainment. It's entertainment posing as sports. It's a story being told. The story is
it's entertaining.
It's a sport, but it's not really a sport.
It's sports with storyline. You even said that yourself.
We have esports. Marie, get the fuck out. Get the fuck out, Marie.
No, that's true. Like, how is it like?
It's competitive. It's not predetermined. It's still a competition. Those guys go head to head in something where they're level. They take their
wrestling is still a competition.
They take their abilities, their gifted abilities, and they go have a competition where there's no predetermined. There's no story being told outside of the narrative they let the people tell, and then they compete. And there's winners and there's losers. But it is not a story. It's a legitimate competition. All right,
so how about this? If you take out the predetermined part, is wrestling a sport?
If you take out the predetermined, wrestling, of course, is a sport. Like amateur wrestling, that's why it's an Olympic event.
No, I'm talking about professional wrestling. If you take out the predetermined part, because they call matches in the ring, a lot of the veterans don't know what's going to happen until they go out there.
So they still know who's going to win. They don't say, hey, let's go feel this out and we'll just figure out who's going to win while we're doing the match.
That's what I'm saying. So if you take the predetermined part out, would you consider it a sport?
Well, then it just becomes amateur wrestling. It becomes two guys legitimately at that time trying to win, and it would look nothing like what we get on television. And that, what I mean?
You're digging too deep into it, bro. It's a sport, bro. It's definitely a sport.
It's a fucking fake-ass sport. It's not real. I'm a wrestling fan, okay? I'm allowed to say it. It's not real. It's not a real sport.
But it's still a sport. It may not be real, but it's a sport.
Oh, shit, man. Forbidden Door.
The best thing.
Yeah, so you said you watched Rampage?
Yes.
Well, what's up, man? Tell me, because I missed out. I heard that Will Ospreay competed.
Yes, Will Ospreay and Ozzy Open, they are part of the United Empire, and that was such a good fucking match. It really was. Like, Will Ospreay to me is top 5 in the world and always has been, at least for the past 4 or 5 years, maybe.
Yeah.
And Ozzy Open is one of the best tag teams in the world as well. So, like, it's just, I don't know. I just like the United Empire because they got this, like, weird, like, I'm kind of like, what was the un-American, kind of like an un-Americans, like, vibe, kind of, but not at the same time. But they're just swag the fuck out. Like, Will Ospreay is the swaggiest fucking wrestler in the world to me.
He is, he is, like, just like how coolness.
Yeah, like how he carries himself, everything about him. Like, even when he was a face, like, he still was, like, he wasn't like that white meat baby. To me, he's just fire. Like, I just like not to mention everything he does in the ring, which we all know is like all the flippy shit on. But I mean, just like his persona and his character, like that's why I love him. Like, yeah, his shit's dope in the ring, and we get that. But like, just like I said, just his swag, like everything about him, he carries himself. Like, he's somebody that I would want to hang out with, and I would be in his faction. And it's just fucking dope.
I saw that Trent won. Of all people, Trent got the pin.
Which I knew that was going to happen. Like, I don't think they should have fucking lost at all. And they pretty much were in control most of that match. It was the United Empire versus FTR and Trent. And I don't know if it was a shoot or not. It did look like he hurt himself, but Trent was kind of hurt most of the match. I think he might have sprained his ankle. He did like a acai moonsault to the outside on top of Will Ospreay, and he came up kind of limping. So, like, the last half of the match, that's what it really was him fucking, like, limping around and shit. So, like, I didn't know if it was a work shoot or not. It was kind of iffy on both ends. Like, it could have been a work, but yeah, he got the pin. I don't think he should have. Like, I mean, they were getting their ass whooped the entire match. Like, Will Ospreay and Ozzy, they beat the brakes off of them. Like, it was kind of It's kind of what I've always seen. Like the AEW are fucking, they're midgets, man. Like, FTR are not like super small guys, but like when they were in the ring with Ozzy Open and Will Ospreay, like they looked like cruiserweights. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a bad look to me because like, you know what I'm saying? Like they just like, I don't know, like they look huge when they're with all those fucking 5'8", 178-pound dudes on that roster. And then when they're in like, and Ozzy Open went in like, I think the biggest dude, maybe he was like 6'4", 240 or something like that, but he looked like he was fucking 7 foot tall. He looked like almost when he was wrestling them, bro. Like it was crazy. But yeah, they definitely shouldn't have lost, but I knew they would because it was an AEW match. FTR is like a big part of their program. But I'm so hyped for this shit. Like just seeing all these New Japan guys come over. So people like Matt Ritter and Will shitting on New Japan, like so they can see what's really going on over there. And it's better than 90% of the shit we get on TV, AEW or WWE. New Japan is better, like in-ring wise.
Yeah, the match quality of New Japan, I've always adored it. I remember my brother doesn't even watch wrestling. I always try to show him like Wrestle Kingdom matches.
Right.
You know, like Okada and Omega and stuff like that. I'm always trying to show him that stuff. And I usually lose him about a half hour in. He's like, what the fuck, man? And I was like, dude, come on.
Well, yeah, that's
like,
when you get those fucking 10-man tags with all the fucking comedy wrestlers and shit and everything.
Yeah. I did see a lot of demand for just simplifying it and doing FTR taking on Will Ospreay. Like a lot of demand for that. Will Ospreay and then either of his tag team partners. I don't know who he's closer to. I because I'm not familiar with his faction. Because it says
they're a better tag team together than any of them being with Will. Like he's a singles wrestler, so like
okay.
I would have much rather seen them versus.
So Kyle Fletcher and Mark Davis are more of a tag with each other than they would be like pairing off with Will Ospreay. Okay, okay.
Like I would have rather seen Great O'Kong and Jeff Cobb versus FTR, but that's who broke up the match.
Yeah,
Ring of Honor match, or whatever.
Yeah,
that's what I thought it would be. I didn't think it'd be them three. But.
Well, I mean, there's a good chance that we will. You know what I mean? It still hasn't happened.
Right. Like I said, they're going to look so fucking small. Like, because even Jeff Cobb's not huge, but like he even makes everybody in AEW look like cruiserweights. It's,
yeah. Once you get a guy that is over like 270, is like pushing the upper 200s. Yeah, you can really see the size difference.
But that's what I'm saying. Like the guy from Aussie Open, I always get him mixed up. I think it was Mark. Like he's literally like 6'4", like 240. Like he wasn't even like he was like 250, 260. You know what I'm saying? Like he was just like a normal size wrestler, and he literally made them all. It looked like he was fighting. He was in the ring with kids at all times. Like when you're like beating up your little cousins or some shit. That's what it looked like.
Well, I mean, that's why they had Statman Singh wrestle his debut match. What'd you think of that? I heard he hit a crossbody.
I mean, he's athletic. I mean, he clearly has to be athletic to make it to the fucking NBA. So like. That's not what you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think I would have ever even.
I heard he did the bare minimum. Like, the bare minimum to not, like, it wasn't like he messed anything up, but he also didn't do anything to, like.
He didn't do anything for us to be like, okay, maybe he's good. Like, he was just a normal big man or hitting people, dropping people, beating the shit out of his enhancement talent. Like, it wasn't anything to write home about, but it also wasn't anything to, like, kill him over either.
Is he already doing better than the Great Khali?
Yo, absolutely. He's the Great Khali was like the 10-man, like just clunk, 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 clunk. Like
it looked like it hurt for that man to walk.
Yeah, exactly.
Walking looked painful for him.
And I think he was like damn near 40, over 40 when he finally made it to the WWE too. So it wasn't like he was like young and fucking spry. But this kid, like, he got drafted to the NBA. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's probably a better athlete than fucking me or you, honestly, even at that size. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I never had in question like what his athleticism would be or like how like his gas and everything like that. Like, bro, like making it to the NBA is not something to write off. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just not. There's 12 dudes on the NBA roster, and he made that. You know what I'm saying? So like, he's definitely an athlete. Is he a wrestler though? I don't think. It didn't prove that he wasn't, but it also didn't prove that he really is yet.
It proves he's got a long ways to go.
And it proved that he's not as far off as I thought he was. Like, you can tell, like I said, he didn't do anything, but you can tell, like, his instincts. I guess that's the best way to put it. Like, he had decent instincts for a guy that's coming over from another sport.
I mean, with a man like that, you teach him 5 moves.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you just build off of it.
Like, he didn't seem awkward in the ring.
Yeah, it's the same thing we said about Jade Cargill. Just give her a base of like 5 to 10 moves
and let her
run
get used
that
to
match for like 2 to 3 years.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Same thing. Like just give him some time in the ring, but you could tell like he wasn't terrible. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like most big dudes like that, most new dudes are like Omos. Like he was nowhere near as bad as Omos as he was in his first match. Like,
yeah, Omos the Giant Ninja. I still won't forget that, man. That was fantastic. I feel bad for the cameraman because, like, you know, Vince's weird things they have him do to make guys look bigger and stuff, and it's like they have the cameraman just like assume the position in front of Omos. Like he's like down on his knees in front of him when they're trying to look up.
You don't even need to. The motherfucker really is 7'19" bro. Like you don't even have to do any of that.
Just fucking Omos' giant dick just falls on the guy's forehead. He's like, I'm just trying to get the shot, man. Guy's got a concussion.
Dangling through like the thing on a big ass bell, fucking just knocking the fuck out.
Fucking dingus, man. On the job hazard. All right, so the only other thing, I mean, Dynamite had a couple weird things. Dynamite got a lot of criticism this week over some decisions. It was cool to see Will Ospreay, but remember, you only get one chance to make a debut. Right. And granted, I think we've already become kind of desensitized to the big debuts on AEW, but even then, I still feel like Ospreay could have made a larger splash than he did. The
only reason I don't think he was because the card's going to be so big and so many people are involved in it. Like, there's no way there's no way he could have made a bigger splash without attacking one of the champs or something. Like, yeah, that's why I wasn't. And because the fact that they're all going to be taking L's on AEW anyway, so it's like I can't believe I'm saying this, but I actually give AEW a pass on that one.
Okay,
you know I'm ready to fucking give it to him, but like you're bringing in people that most people don't really know. Like as fans, most of these fans can pretend like they know who the fuck he is, but let's be honest, we're on the internet. A lot of people don't know these New Japan guys, especially the people that are at those shows. So like, I don't think there's really much they could have done. Like I said, outside of him attacking one of the champs or like fucking Mox or somebody, like I don't think there's much they could have done to make his debut bigger. I mean, I wish he would have wrestled on Dynamite, not fucking Rampage. I think they could have did that differently, but yeah. Other than like how he actually came out, like I don't really know what they could have done for a guy that wrestles overseas. He's British, and like he's not involved. Like he wouldn't be involved in any titles or anything. It's like, what do you really have him fucking do?
Yeah, so that's the other thing too with the title. That's another thing that was weird because we had Wardlow. Wardlow, unfortunately, I'm not giving up on Wardlow at all by no means, but like it's kind of like Hangman Page and like the whole like once you like a dog chasing the car, like what's he do once you get a hold of the car?
Oh, I'm okay with that. Like I know a lot of people hated him getting the TNT title, but I think he needs a long TNT title run.
I just didn't like how it was phrased. You know, like him saying he doesn't want to go after it because he wants to go after the true champ. Just to me, like it felt cheap. Like I feel like an easier way to go about it was that I think the better story was right there in front of him is he's a new sign to AEW. Technically his record is 0-0. So he's got to get some wins before he can be a credible challenger anyways.
We know that they pick and choose when those rankings fucking mean something.
Oh, so I know. Like, we saw that with the tag team title with the Hardys and yeah, FTR was like, what the fuck? They've been ranked number 2 now for like
6 months. Shit.
Yeah, exactly.
My thing is like I appreciated that because that was a way to keep him out of the title picture without fucking having to do something stupid to keep him out of the title picture. That's what I'm saying. I wasn't as mad as most people were. Like you said, there's probably better ways to do it, but let's be honest, that's not how they operate. You know what I'm saying? Like and remember all these like small callbacks that we always give them praise for? Yeah. This is going to be one of those little things. You know what I'm saying? Like we may not get to it till 8-9 months down the road, but that's one of the things that they are good at is when they shift gears on something, they still leave that little breadcrumb for us to follow back to down the road. I think he should have had his TNT title run. You know what I'm saying? Like he needs a long.
Yeah, he was the only accolade to him right now is the face of the Revolution where he won that.
Right.
But I mean, I get why they don't want to do it. Is you know they have other people in mind for that world title scene, and they don't need Wardlow already smashing them. Smashing all their top contenders because you also don't want to build Wardlow up to be this babyface monster, and then have him just start eating L's to your main card. So it is,
right.
Yeah, you do have to keep him kind of leveled. And the other
like,
weird. Go ahead.
I would say, like, in the mid card, then we get to see him with guys like Moxley. Well, maybe not Moxley now because of the title, but before that, with Yuta and all these other guys that really put on dope ass matches and good matches. Like, we get to match him up with that, because I don't think he's going to be just annihilating people. I think we're going to get to see the full fleshed out version of Wardlow before we get there. It's not going to be every match. It's going to be 10 fucking power bombs. You know what I'm saying? But also too, with the TNT title, you can throw some, not jobbers, but some lower end guys in there for him to 10 powerbomb, sprinkling out him having actually long matches and feuds. So, like, I'm actually way more in on Wardlow than I thought I would be. And, like, I love him on the mic. Like, he's way more polished on the mic than I expected him to be. Like,
he's got charisma for days, man. He's a very suave dude.
No, I'm not even talking about just his charisma. I'm just talking about his actual, like, on the mic, like how he talks, and like he doesn't skip over his words. Like, he seems ready to go on the mic, and I'm way more.
Yeah,
I can't believe it's that part that he's that good as he.
I'm sorry if I seem distracted, RN.
My kids, our weekly
yeah, my kids.
That's why I kept talking.
My kids just barged into the office to let me know that a spider has appeared in the room, but not to worry that Gavin's going to kill it. So yeah, and he ran by the door with a crock. You got marbles in here? Go ahead, show everybody. Hey, there's my marbles.
I got marbles.
All right.
His weekly cameo.
There you go. That's my son for everybody. That's one of my sons. Hey, shut the door. Okay? All right, there we go. Jeez Louise. Hangman Page is another one too. He talked about, like, back of the line for him. Although he wants Okada, that was nice. That was a very simple story. What's your take on? I was like, we just got done with this feud between him and Adam Cole.
Right.
That's another thing too. Is it feels like with Forbidden Door coming around and being such an event, like, a lot of people got to get in on it. What do you think we're gonna get? Do you think we're gonna get another match between Hangman Page and Cole to see who faces Okada, or do you think we might get like a triple threat?
I hope it's them two to see who faces Okada.
Yeah, I'd love to see Okada in a singles match.
Right, and my thing too, I hated that feud with them because they have such good chemistry because they are so close. Mm-hmm. That fucking 2-week feud or whatever the hell that was, like, I felt like that didn't do either one of them any fucking service. Like, and I felt like a long, drawn-out feud with Hangman probably would have endeared us more to him and cut him a little bit more slack because Adam Cole's so good on the mic and in the ring. And I think that was a gross disservice to both of them, being that, what was it, like a 3-week fucking feud? Adam Cole just came out and was like, I want a title shot, and that was it.
Cole didn't feel like he needed to be around that title just to be like a notch on Hangman Page's belt. Like, Cole.
And I don't agree with that. I think he was a good person to be a notch on his belt, but not how they did it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like, just get him in there, get that loss. Like, there's not really any story told. Just, hey, I'm here, I'm next.
Right. And Cole is a great notch to have on your belt, but not like that. Like, I wanted Cole and them beating his ass, and Cole, like, just fucking dragging his name through the mud, like, and then him persevering over their whole clique. Like, that's what you want from your champ, to be look like he's down, he's not going to win, and then he does. Like, and them and Bobby Fish and him, they would have been the perfect foils for him for like a long 2 or 3 month feud. You know what I'm saying? Or at least after that pay-per-view going into the next one. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I feel like they both just got kind of shitted on in that deal, and it made them both look like shit coming out of it.
It does raise the question, though. Does New Japan even do triple threats?
Yeah,
I feel like that's the one match that eludes me. Like, I don't know if I've ever tuned into New Japan to see a triple threat.
It's not very often, but they do it. Like, it's very. Marie would probably know more than me. Like, it's not something.
Marie, what's a famous New Japan triple threat match? I know you're there in the chat listening. Give me a New Japan triple threat match that I need to go and watch tonight, because it's weird. It's not like I watch a ton of New Japan, but I've watched a decent handful of it. You know what I mean? And everything that I've seen has been singles matches, straight up tag matches, multi-man tag matches, and then of course some of their gimmicks like the battle royal that they do at New Japan and stuff like that. Which
is where a lot of AEW took a lot of their their format from is pretty much New Japan's.
Yeah. No, very true. Very true. So let me see here. We're almost an hour in. That's good. What?
I told you every time we don't plan it.
we come up with the stuff, man. We come up with it.
That's what I'm saying. Look, it doesn't even feel like we've been doing this an hour.
Nah, time. I mean, it did feel like it dragged out when I got to listen to you be like super wrong about pro wrestling being a sport. Like, you know,
put the poll up, bitch. Put the poll up.
Let's see. You know what? I did tell people on Twitter. I was like, yeah, we'll read you off. Let's see what a couple of people said on Twitter about that too, really quick, because I don't want to be like a hypocrite here. I don't want to turn on damn notifications. No, shut up. Also, by the way, does anybody else use Twitter like on a PC browser?
I do when I'm on the show and stuff like now.
Yeah. Well, that's weird. You know what? I was playing Rocket League right before the show. I faced off against this guy that's like no shit. His name was Dale Gribble, right off of King of the Hill.
That's fire.
And one of the people that commented on the post is Gribble Bugs, and it's fucking Dale Gribble. That's weird. What are the odds I'd run into two like Dale Gribble avatars within only about an hour and a half's time? That's nuts. So let's see what some people say.
That's what we need to have Alison do, make us King of the Hill fucking.
Marie says, yes, I believe so. A tweet wouldn't do my full explanation justice. I think her full explanation is just that Statman Singh used to be an athlete and now he's a wrestler. So I think that's the way she made the jump. Noob says, yes, it's a sport. The violence is unscripted. Matches are meant to be brutal and graphic. I mean, that's like I said, that's more entertainment, like movies. Right. Kyle says, no, a sport involves truly competing with somebody to win a contest, which is not what pro wrestling is. I agree with you, Kyle. Gribble Bugs says, good fucking grief. No, it's not. They're stuntmen playing characters like any other movie or TV show. I wouldn't be so as vulgar, but that's kind of my take. I associate pro wrestling much more with television and movies than I do actually athletic competition. Ted the Hillbilly Heel, big. By the way, you guys, if you're not following Hillbilly Heel, give him a follow. This guy is one of the most supportive people in the pro wrestling scene on Twitter and stuff. He's a fantastic guy. Here he says, here's what Google says: sport, an activity involving physical exertion and skill in which an individual or team competes against one another for entertainment. Curious to know what Siri says. So he doesn't even give an answer. He just says, here's Google. Matt Ritter says the outcomes are predetermined. The violence is choreographed. Wrestlers are actors that perform their own stunts. They are highly skilled, athletic, and talented, but it is not a sport, no matter what New Japan logo says. Getcho rebuttals that statement, though, and says, if extreme pogo jumping is a sport, wrestling can be also. So there you go, folks.
Ocho.
There you go. That's what Twitter says. That's what Twitter says to this debate. Jesus Christ. Who's gonna be our interim champ in AEW, man?
It's gonna be Moxley. They're not gonna let an outsider win that belt.
Fuck, man. Let that belt travel to other places. Let it go. Let them do what CM Punk was supposed to do in WWE. Let a winner take that belt and go defend it in New Japan. And
he will. That's the thing. He will defend it. He will defend it in New Japan. None of them are going to beat him, but because that's what I guess. Like there's supposed to be a number Forbidden Door 2, like in October or November. That's what I heard. I mean,
this cannot be a one-off. They're gonna have to trade off.
This one is going to be in America, and the AEW guys are going to go over, and then the one that'll be in Japan, the Japan guys will go. That's what I heard from one of my guys that keeps up with all this shit.
Well, I mean, just going by how wrestling shows are done anyways, it feels like something that would have a sequel. I mean, truly, what's the last like one-off wrestling special? The only thing that comes to mind was WWE's Evolution. They're all women's pay-per-view, and unfortunately, and that's one that a lot of people. That's what pisses me off. You remember what you talk about with those fake woke people? That's exactly my point, man. Is like all you motherfuckers that say that they should do another one. Why didn't you watch the first one? Why didn't you fucking tune in?
We literally said that when it happened. That
it was literally one of the least watched pay-per-views of all time, and you motherfuckers saying that you showed up in droves, and like, no, you didn't. No, the fuck you didn't, man.
Let's just be honest. Majority of wrestling fans are toxic as fuck. And they say they want things, but they really don't.
Yeah. Bastards. It's your fault why we don't have Evolution 2. Sure. Evolution's a tough pay-per-view to build for, though. Because it's kind of like this. Do you want to do it like Forbidden Door? Just throw a bunch of exhibition matches together, or
yes,
do you want
absolutely? You have like two. Here's how I would. You're right. I would do it just like that. I'd have my 2 or 3, especially my main women's title matches. I'd have them building something towards it. But for the most part, yeah, like pay-per-views like that. I don't mind if you bring the old people back, as long as the new people go over. Like those are the type of pay-per-views that you should do that with, especially in women's wrestling, because this women's wrestling is not
paved the way. You know, like I mean, that was the whole thing. Is like
and they're not that far off. You know what I'm saying? Like some of these guys that we're bringing back are fucking 30 years ago. Mm-hmm. Women's wrestling, Lita and Trish are not that far. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I don't mind them. You know what I'm saying? Like, and really they're like some of the only ones. But like a pay-per-view like that, yeah, you just throw some shit together. You have 2 or 3 actually like matches that you're building towards with feuds, and the rest of it be just fucking dream matches and people that we can get on the show, like free agents or people that you may not sign, but like why not bring them on for this one-off to give the fans something? You know what I'm saying?
Noob says Evolution is definitely a tough pay-per-view to book. I mean, it's impossible.
It is. I'm not saying it's not. It is. Absolutely.
Yeah, like RN said here, the best way to book it, I mean, the most realistic way to book it is, like 1 or like 2 to 3 stories, and then the rest are just exhibition matches. Come in
and dream matches,
stuff like that. Because otherwise,
like they did with the women's tournament at the end with Tony Storm and what was it? Kyrie or Io?
I can't remember. I only really remember, what was it, like Charlotte and was that the one with Charlotte and Ronda? I remember Charlotte was in like a last woman standing match or something, and it blew. I think it was her and Becky, and it was fantastic. But everyone I
can't remember. But
everyone got pissed off because they were claiming it was the first ever last woman standing match. When that took place with Asuka and Nikki Cross in NXT, and they were like one of those other things where Nikki doesn't exist. Noob says Io. Yeah, I'd have to look up that card.
I think it was Tony Storm and Io was like they did the final one.
That's
Evolution.
Right. No, that's right. Yeah. But yeah, because the alternative is you'd literally have to alter WWE's regular programming to feature more women, like a lot more women stories, a lot more time, which we know they're not going to do. Like, nope. It's not. We're not here to argue whether they should or shouldn't, or if there's a right or wrong way to do it. It's just we know that's not going to happen.
And really having a pay-per-view like that where they only have to concentrate on 3 is probably the best for everybody anyway. You do your 3 champions, you do the 2 women's belts and the tag team titles, and then everything else is just fucking dream matches and shit the fans really want to see.
Hey, sweet, my memory came through for me. Noob clarified. Charlotte and Becky was the last woman standing match. Okay, yeah. It was good, though. It was really good. I remember that was the one, like, I think that was the one that a lot of people were crapping on.
They beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
It was either with a kendo stick or something. They were all welded up and shit and red afterwards and everything.
Yeah, because going into it, Twitter and a bunch of other people, myself included, was kind of pissed off that they were like Nikki Cross and Asuka, who broke that barrier in NXT. Yeah, didn't get any shine. And Nikki Cross ate a goddamn superplex off the top of a ladder through a commentary table, and you're gonna sweep that under the rug. You know what I mean? Like WWE and their fake furs. What do you think of Wardlow having the 20-man gauntlet match?
I'm past this shit with Wardlow. Let's get him in some real matches and like get him against some real opponents.
Hold on. This was part of the silliness, like I said, that came with AEW Dynamite, because they're booking some crazy stuff, and this is one of the weird ones where Wardlow's got this this not handicap match. It's essentially, what is it?
That's a handicap match or a gauntlet match.
It's a gauntlet match. There we go, a gauntlet match. 20 guys. He's going to be taking dudes out with just clotheslines, right?
Right.
Like clothesline, big boot.
Has to be.
Yeah, I mean, dude, you can't have this man even do a minute with each guy. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
he's got to burn through over half of those guys
pretty quickly
in 20 to 40 seconds apiece.
It's going to be some screwy shit. Some of them are going to be like a wrestler or something. Something's going to happen.
They're going to have to eat pins quicker than they do in the 24/7 title scene.
Right.
You know? God, if you ever want to pick up some easy wins, man, go into that 24/7 division. Guys cannot kick out of roll-ups in the 24/7 title. All right, let's cut it there, RN. That's it. I mean, unless you want to go into NXT. Is there anything?
I don't even remember NXT, if I'm being honest.
I'm being honest with you, I don't either. I'd have to pull it up.
I know I watched it. I just don't remember what the fuck happened on it.
Yeah. No, that's not a knock on NXT. That's not a knock on it. It's just it is developmental at the end of the day. Right. And it's not really worth investing.
We're not saying it's bad because actually at least when I do watch it, there's always at least 2 good matches to 1 or 2 great matches on it, honestly. But
yeah. It's an honest product too.
Right.
Like the show itself is an honest product. It's no longer trying to be the indie show darling / developmental. It is 100% developmental.
And I'm telling you, I always give Bama credit for that. Once he told me that and I really started looking at it that way, it kind of changed my perspective on it and gave it a little bit more credit than I was before.
Yeah. Oh, quick prediction. One of those guys that Wardlow beats up is going to be a future AEW world champ. This guy, absolutely. There has to be a future world champ in that mix.
Well, that's what I was just going to say. There's going to be some screwy shit where there's either somebody debuting maybe or an old person that he fucked up. Like, it's going to be some sort of screwy shit.
Remember, I mean, look at all those crazy pictures of, like, Adam Rose's Rosebuds and how many, like, top stars.
Half the main event. Half the main
event was a Rosebud. You know what I mean? Fucking Braun Strowman and Alexa Bliss were Rosebuds. Yeah, man. Elias or Ezekiel. Yep. Ezekiel was a rosebud. Right. Or Ezekiel's big brother, was a rosebud.
Yes.
Yeah, man. I'm telling you, we got a future main eventer. He's going to be in there. We got to pick him out, man.
Might be a future WWE main eventer. Shit.
Oh, hey, it's not off the table now. It's off the table. Thank you guys for watching. It was a fun show. RN, tell them about Mean Jelly Bean while you're here.
If you want to be offended, if you want to share videos to make your parents cringe, hit us up on Facebook, Mean Jelly Bean Memes. Look us up on YouTube, Mean Jelly Bean Productions. Go check out I Think Too Much. It was a pretty dope video. We all dressed like dads. I rocked some fire-ass Paige sandals my dad had that are probably older than I am. Straight leather, baby. Straight cash, homie.
Oh, you want to hear some dad shoes? My dad owned penny loafers with motherfucking pennies in them.
Oh, I was gonna rock those, but I saw those sandals. It was perfect barbecue shoes.
You ever have the moccasins?
Oh yeah.
You had the moccasins?
Oh, bro, no, not the moccasins. The straight up like dad leather cage sandals. Just go back and look at the video when I got my.
No, I know what you're talking about. I'm wondering if your dad owned any of what my dad's footwear. He had the New Balance, but the dude had penny loafers with the pennies, and then he also had moccasins. But they were like LL Bean moccasins, so they're not legit. Yeah. You know what I mean? He never wore.
My dad, he would fucking just annihilate and take any raw. If we had a pair of shoes left at his house for far too long, he claimed them as his, and he'd like soup them up and get them back looking halfway decent and shit. Like, he literally has a pair of sneakers that I bought my senior year of high school that he still wears.
Damn, Jesus. Hey, you guys, keep an eye out on Twitter. Myself at The Kai Tai Show. Obviously, you have RN's handle here on the screen if you're watching any of the videos at Mr.8984. The show is at Smacked Raw Pod. RN, you and I will just keep an eye on Twitter because we'll update you guys. Me and RN are killing it right now in WWE's 2K GM mode.
Yes, sir.
I murdered you at Backlash. You have a large hill to climb to come back.
It made no sense too because I was literally annihilating you every show until that go home show and fucking the pay-per-view. And it's like he's running the same matches that got like poor quality or like disappointing, and now they're getting fucking 5-star on the pay-per-view.
They've learned each other's chemistry, RN, and not to mention while you were using the bathroom, I signed the motherfucking Undertaker.
I wasn't mad at that. I mean, it is what it is.
You guys give us a follow, all that fun stuff, man. We'll be back later this week, of course, and we'll be back next week for the show. Keep an eye out too. I think next week we're going to do the preview show for Forbidden Door. We don't have anything for Forbidden Door this week.
No, we shouldn't. Because when is it, the 24th?
I think so. Yeah, next week. We'll figure out a date next week. Me, you, and maybe Marie.
Definitely not maybe. Definitely Marie's getting old. We can't do a fucking New Japan show and not have Marie.
I think me, Marie, and Will are doing a prediction show for it.
How am I not involved in this? Y'all motherfuckers don't even watch New Japan.
Will text me, man. He fucking just sent me a text.
Will, what the fuck, bro? He don't even like New Japan. Like, how am I not involved? The only person on the show that likes New Japan. How am I not involved in the prediction show?
Oh, no. Thank y'all for coming. Until next time, y'all have a good one.
See y'all next week, dickheads.
Hey, the Hitman Hart, there is best and best every week. And you're listening to the Smacked Raw podcast.